Stream ecologists say that flow is the master variable in a stream ecosystem. The water flowing in the channel and through the alluvial and riparian gravels is the single most important factor in maintaining viable and resilient stream ecosystems. Most people think that minimum flows are all that is needed to keep a stream healthy. You hear officials say that they will work to ensure the minimum flow is met. If the minimum is met, things will be all right, or so it seems. But nothing could be further from the truth. Even with the high spring runoff, it's the lower average flows through the rest of the year that form the ecologic base flow upon which the stream system depends. When only the minimum flow is all that's left in the stream, it is condemned to a permanent drought condition. No stream can remain healthy with that little water. In many cases, streams don't even get the minimum flow. In Colorado, many streams like the Crystal River are left high and dry. The water they do have is what comes back directly or through the ground. Too often, this returning water is snatched up by another diversion just downstream. The Colorado Constitution says that the right to divert water for a beneficial use shall never be denied. It also establishes that priority of use shall give the better right. When water gets scarce, those with the oldest rights will get it first. Younger, more junior rights will be curtailed. In 1876, water left in a stream was considered a waste. The basic environmental needs of a stream weren't recognized for nearly 100 years. In 1973, Colorado finally passed a minimum in-stream flow law. This law allows the state, and only the state, to own a water right where the minimum amount of water to protect the environment to a reasonable degree can be left in the stream. This is a good start, but there are problems. First, minimum means just that. Barely enough water to cover a fish's back. Long-term exposure to low minimum flows dries out critical components of the stream ecosystem. Low flows also result in increased temperatures. The higher the temperature, the less dissolved oxygen the water can hold. Both the fish and the insects become seriously stressed. Second, the scientifically determined minimum has to pass the political test of what is reasonable. In the past, minimum stream flows have been denied or reduced simply because they might interfere with someone's ability to take more water in the future. Finally, nearly all minimum in-stream flow rights are junior. Minimum flow rights are frequently cut off by more senior diversion rights upstream. That's how prior appropriation works. The minimum stream flow right on the Crystal River is for 100 cubic feet per second, or CFS. 1 CFS is about the same volume as a basketball. But this minimum flow is the most junior right on the river, so it is rarely met in the summer. Throughout August and September, the flows just above Carbondale were often less than 10 CFS and sometimes less than 5. So what does a stream really need? Native flows in a mountain stream follow an annual hydrograph. Over the course of a year, we see the high flows of spring when the snow melts and we have runoff. The flows slowly diminish over the summer and into the fall. The lowest flow time of the year is in the winter and early spring, just before the new snow in the high country begins to melt, starting the cycle all over again. This natural flow pattern, or something close to it, is what the stream needs. Spring floods recharge the groundwater, rejuvenate the channel, and flush sediment from the stream. Late in the year, water flowing in from the alluvial aquifer keeps enough cool water in the channel to maintain aquatic life. The science of stream ecology has come a long way since minimum stream flow rights were allowed in 1973. The dynamic interconnections and complexity of stream ecosystems is much better understood. We can say now with certainty that the old concepts of a flatline minimum in-stream flow no longer works and never did. Recent studies have shown that when more than 20% of the stream's flow, based on the native annual hydrograph, is removed, the risk of degradation increases. The greater the diversion and dewatering, the greater the risk. The lower Crystal has been drained nearly dry and is suffering deeply. The upper Colorado River has lost over 60% of its native flow to diversions. Its ecosystem is collapsing. When too much water is removed from the stream ecosystem, the fish and the insects they depend on will suffer as well. But they are among the last to feel the impacts. The first part of the stream ecosystem to suffer is the hydrology that maintains the channel and the alluvial aquifer, that sponge of groundwater so vital to the entire system. It is this hydraulic and geomorphic system that forms the foundation of the habitat mosaic we call a stream. The next part of the system affected by dewatering are the riparian soils. Dewatering diminishes the biogeochemical cycle and the tiny organisms that make these soils so rich. Continued dewatering then reduces the ability of the riparian woodland to maintain itself. Without occasional overbanking floods and a high enough water table, the forest becomes old and decadent. In dewatered stream systems, young trees are largely absent. The riparian forest may look nice, an open park with towering cottonwoods, but it's not in good shape. It's as if you were in a town with nothing but old people. No young adults and no children. It doesn't take much to imagine what that town or riparian woodland will look like in a few years. Finally, the established food web is affected. This in turn diminishes the populations of fish and insects living in the stream channel. However, by the time the fish and the insects are affected, a lot of serious damage has already been done. Fish and insect populations alone are not enough for monitoring impacts from diversions. You need to also look at the hydrology, the alluvial aquifer, and the riparian vegetation. Streams like Castle and Maroon Creeks are at the limits of how much water can be removed without substantially increasing the risk of degradation. Right now, various diversions take from 26% to 32% of the native flow in Castle Creek from August through May. The proposed hydro plant will double the amount of water removed from Castle Creek, with 43% to as much as 64% diverted in a normal year between August and May. Under the current proposal, both Castle and Maroon Creeks would be condemned to a flatline minimum flow, a permanent drought condition for up to 7 months, all in a normal year. We have seen what this level of dewatering has done to the upper Colorado, the lower Crystal, and parts of the lower Roaring Fork River. Do we really want to take that chance with Castle and Maroon Creeks? Meeting a flatline minimum stream flow is a false hope for stream health. The streams will weaken and become less resilient, less able to withstand the shocks and stress of a real drought, or the reduced runoff predicted from climate change. It's time that we started giving the streams what they need, not just taking from them for our needs. We have options for our water and energy. The streams don't have such options. They need water to keep healthy like we need air and food. Flow is the master variable on which a stream system depends. The idea that a minimum stream flow can maintain a vibrant system is a myth. Reducing a stream to the minimum, given what we know and the options we have, is simply irresponsible.